your feet upon the earth. Know your value, know your worth. Take a breath that's long and deep. You're carried by the ground beneath. Feel the sunshine on your skin. A lotus flower blossoming. Your journey is your offering. You are here for a reason. Send your roots down through the dirt, anchoring you through the hurt. With every breath, lengthen your spine, reaching steady towards the light. Feel the sunshine on your skin. Turn up the wiser voice within. Your story is your offering. You are here for a reason.
Welcome, dear friends, to this new iteration of our lab experiencing Egyptian mysteries. Today's topic is a vast one, so basically we are going to the temple of Karnak and meet many, many deities there. We will go into visualization with them as well. And at the end, there will be time for, no, actually in the middle somewhere, I will ask everybody if you would like to comment or question anything. And then at the end, of course, there will be time for sharing if anybody wants. But before we go on, let's do a visualization, an alignment with our friend Kepra. If you remember, this is our scarab protector, the sun at dawn, the pure potential, they call him as well. So let's close our eyes, settle in our bodies, align, connect as we usually do, vertically and horizontally. We remember the sparks, eternal sparks in our hearts, which we inhabit and that it inhabit us. And see yourself standing within a circle of people extending both to your right and to your left. A large circle composed of your co-workers, friends, family, teachers, pupils, incarnate, and from the other side. As you connect with them, you realize there are two more concentric circles of people spreading both sides from you. All of us connected, interdependent through interplay and interconnection. Now, these three circles are actually arcs that spread from us, from you, in a circular manner, but leaving an opening at its far end. And as you advance toward the center of the geometry, you realize there are three more concentric circles of beings inside who are our teachers. and in their center, a radiant, luminous form representing the guide of the guides of humanity. The geometry can now be recognized as a three-winged Kepra. You are in its heart, and the concentric circles of your brothers and sisters are actually multicolored wings. Realize that we who are doing the visualization are surrounding and looking at the same center, each one of us observing and experiencing from a different angle and through different lenses. Taking some time to observe and acknowledge the presences of the members of our team, busy as we are pushing the rising sun over the horizon. So when it feels right, slowly open your eyes and please join us for the presentation. So there also we will be touching upon mystery schools in Egypt. And before we go there, I just wanted to remind us what mystery school actually means. So mystery would come from the Greek word mysteria, which in its turn is composed of two parts. One is the verb mu, which means to close or to shut, to focus on inner vision. And teria, the suffix teria, which would mean festival or ceremonial occasion. And then the school itself, the word school comes also from the Greek word skole, which actually started to mean its meaning with meaning of leisure, spare time, and later was incorporated by Latin to indicate the group activity or even the place. So leisure or spare time to actually undertake something else than labor. And it seems for the Greeks, it meant engaging in philosophical conversation and intellectual pursuits, which seems to connect very well with the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph for Ter-Ankh, or the house of life, which we are seeing on the screen, which was the word used for spaces where mysteries were taught. Egyptology tells us about structures, houses of life, adjacent to temples, and my sense tells me that the entire temples were where wisdom was imparted, possibly in a gradual manner, where one would start from a house of life which was just outside the temple, and then gradually learn more and more while advancing in the temple itself, step by step. Because temples were and still are like an open book. Teachings written on all of the walls, knowledge encoded in a complex way, combining images and symbols with hieroglyphs that convey phonetic sounds and also symbols. So each character conveying multidimensional meanings. And by the way, that's why the vowels were not written on the walls, because they would reveal to a non-initiate the true meaning of a concept. And so let's look a little bit more closely to the mystery schools, some of the mystery schools in Egypt that Egyptology knows of today. So there was one school in Heliopolis, the city of the sun, where solar theology was taught. Um, Movements of celestial bodies were taught, and the core teaching was Ennead, and we will touch about this a little bit later. And they are the genealogy of the nine primary gods. So the goal of this school was to understand the origin of the universe and the laws of light and life. Then we have the school of Memphis, where the creative word and divine architecture was taught. The primary deity was Ptah, and the teaching were focused on mind and speech, the thought of the heart. It seems there is this sentence that we found somewhere in writings. Then we have the school of Hermopolis, city of Hermes, or Thoth, that we talked about the last two times, where Hermetic arts were taught, right? It was about vibration, alchemy, and science. And there the curriculum included Ogdoad, and that too we will touch upon. This is about the eight primordial gods of chaos or forces of chaos. Then we have the school of Abydos, that was about life, death, resurrection. And initiates were taught about the geography of the afterlife. And the goal was to conquer the fear of death and achieve spiritual rebirth while still in physical body. Then we have the school of Thebes, that were held in Luxor and Karnak, that we will visit today, where the main deity was Amun or Amun-Ra, and it was called the University of the World. It was mainly used to initiate pharaohs, we are told, and priesthood. And the goal was to teach about the hidden life, the life that was hidden or is hidden behind every visible form. And then finally, there is the school of Akhenaten, which is a later one. The Akhenaten, if you remember, is the pharaoh or the king who tried to install monotheistic religion. And so the teachings, the mysteries that were taught in his schools were about one sole God. Excuse me. So no matter, so there are many other mystery schools, obviously, but no matter what mystery school we are talking about, they were all based or derived from the principles of Maat, the goddess of cosmic reality, the goddess of truth, justice, and harmony. And in a way, we can say that the Egyptian mystery schools were studies of natural laws through introspection and connection with the great mystery of the universe, based on the principles of Maat and transmitted by Thoth, or Jehuti, if you remember, the teacher who taught alchemy, mathematics, writing. He was also called the Lord of the Divine Word. So let's go into a visualization again, which will basically start where we left off the last time, that when we met Thoth. So close your eyes if you didn't already. Remember the spark in your heart connected with the sparks of hearts of our group. and beyond. And we find ourselves standing in a large magical library beneath the Sphinx. We are surrounded with volumes of scrolls, each more interesting than the other. Nevertheless, invited to follow a small scarab hovering in the air in front of us, we are passing through the library without stopping until we find ourselves standing in front of a large luminous gate. Its structure is covered with pieces of crystal, so polished that they mirror everything in their vicinity. There is much reflected light, but you still see the little Khepera hovering in front of you, inviting you to follow through. You step through the first part of the mirror gate and you hear the word, the good. What comes to mind? At your second step, you hear the beautiful as you pass through the second part of the gate. And then the third step, you hear the true. And as you finally step through the mirror gate, you find yourself standing in a chamber somewhere in the Great Pyramid. There is time, there is light that you didn't notice the first time you entered here. Observe its color and hue. Allow yourself to take in the atmosphere of the chamber. Jehuti, Thoth, is also there and welcomes you into the space. I will leave you now for 2 or 3 minutes. Please feel free to strike conversation with Thoth. Observe, be receptive to the messages. The encounter is reaching its end. Jyoti invites you to look at something behind your back. Before you turn around, salute Jyoti. Offer gratitude for this encounter. And as you turn around, you find yourself in front of another large gate. You are looking through the gate, and the sun is just rising. Its rays are shooting through the center of the temple towards you as you stand facing east. So let's wiggle our fingers deep, breathly. And I will put a piece of music as we come slowly back and continue the presentation. Okay, welcome back to Per Ankh, the house of life, the consecrated container where mysteries of life can be contemplated. And from here, let's go to Karnak, a large complex of temples. So this is a picture, an aerial picture of the complex as it is now. And I know it looks all in ruins and not so much grandiose, but the scale doesn't allow to perceive the actual majesty of the place. So I'll quickly point you out because it will be important for our visualization later, the grounds of the temple. So it's oriented west-east. We enter through the west, through the Hippostyle Hall, and there we reach the main temple of the complex, which is dedicated to Amun-Ra. And here we have a small temple dedicated to Ptah, to Osiris. There is a sacred lake here. Then a pathway leads to the temple of Nekhbet Mother-Mut. There is a temple dedicated to Khonsu, from which the alley of the Sphinxes lead to the temple of Luxor. So who lives in Karnak? There are many deities, and I will point some of them with whom we will go into realization later on. So the main deity is Ra, Amun-Ra. This photo was taken during winter solstice in Karnak temple. So this is looking from west, obviously. So Amun by night, Ra by day. The sun deity was represented by many forms. Here as a falcon with a sun disk on his head, surrounded by a cobra. Here again, as a sun disk leaning on the backs of two lions. They were the guardians of the directions west and east. One is named Duaj, meaning tomorrow, and the other Sefe, meaning yesterday. Sometimes Ra was represented as a bull-headed deity, or even ram-headed. Some texts point out that these were considered to be the Ba of Ra, which is, Ba is the word for personality. And I suspect it has something to do with the ages of the bull and the ram. And here we see the ram traveling on the sub-terrestrial Nile towards the resurrection. And this is taken from the Book of Gates that was found in the tomb of Ramses. And here we see Akhenaten worshipping and his family worshipping the sun disk as a representation of the One. No matter how it was represented, how he was represented, Amun-Ra was a creator god who is said to have created the world and all things in it by uttering their true names, by voicing sacred and secret names. He called the world into being. But where does Ra come from? So this is where Ogdoad comes in. And the story starts with the Ogdoad, the four pairs of deities inhabiting the primordial plane. So we have the masculine and the feminine aspect of the infinite space, the infinite time, the infinite darkness, and the invisibility or hiddenness. So they gathered and to create Ra, the manifested light, who then uttered the names of Tefnut, the moisture, Shu, the air, Nut, the sky, and Geb, the earth. And then Nut and Geb created the four deities that we all so well know, Isis, Osiris, Nephthys, and Set. And together they formed what is now called the Ennead, or the nine gods, which is one of the stories of creation. There are many stories that interlace and complement and enrich each other. And finally, here is the hieroglyphic symbol for the sun that we know all so well, right? The astrologers among us. Now, the consort of Ra is Nekhbet Mother-Mut. She is the vulture, the alchemist, a primary goddess. So she's always found on the ceilings of the temples, and especially on the ceiling of the gate, as if supervising everybody who would penetrate the temple and announcing the potency of the energies inhabiting the place. So it's not an easy thing. She would announce to us, be careful is where you are going. And they had a son, a moon god, Khonsu, about whom we talked last time, who is also known as a traveler and a healer. And together, they form what is called the Theban triad. So here we have the sun represented as a man with a crown with two feathers. Nekhbet, she's wearing the crown of both the upper and lower Egypt, and then Khonsu with a full moon above his head. Of course, we have Khepera who lives there in Karnak. And here is one of those sayings that was found in one of the papyrus that is called mathematical papyrus, which is on its own an entire presentation. And he says, I am he who came into being and who made to come into being the beings who came into being. Very straightforward. The sun at dawn, the pure potential as well. And whose statue is just next to the sacred lake, which is in Karnak, and that served for ritual purification. But then there are other people or other deities who live there, and one of them is Ptah. So interestingly, his part of the story is also creation through words. Sometimes he's also called the prophet. He's wrapped like a mummy, as you see, symbolizing that he is not of this world. And the color of his head is blue, saying to us that his head is in the skies. His mind is in the upper realms. Nevertheless, he is firmly grounded in our reality through the staff he is holding. So the staff is triple. It consists of three elements: the Ankh, about which we already talked, the symbol of the eternal life; the Jet, this pillar-like with four horizontal lines, which represents stability, endurance, sometimes also resurrection. And then the third part was scepter, which consists of Set's head and a forked tail. Now, Set was the god representing the shadow aspect of everything, the unconscious. And Ptah is holding it firmly, representing a dominion and authority over the chaos. Now, Ptah's consort is Sekhmet, the lioness goddess. She is the energy, she is the courage, and in a way, they together are a pair of he has the voice and she has the energy to implement the words that he says. Her mantra, could be said, is Sa Sekem Saku, which would mean with each breath, divine strength enters my highest being. And maybe the best way to describe her is this extract from Normandy Ellis's Awakening of Osiris, which is translation of Egyptian Book of the Dead, which says, I come into being as I come into being. I grew as I grew. I changed as I change. My mind is fire, my soul fire. I am what I have made. I am the seed of every god, beautiful as evening, hard as light. I will live forever in the fire spun from my own wings. I destroy and create myself like the sun that rises burning from the east and dies burning in the west. To know the fire, I become the fire. I am power. I am light. I am forever. On earth and in heaven I am. This is my body, my work. This is my heart, the place of my soul. Sa Sekem Saho. All that is contained in the three words, Sa Sekem Saho. Now, Ptah and Sekhmet have a child. also. His name is or was Nefertum or Nefertum sometimes. He is depicted as a young man with a lotus flower on his head, and some say that Nefertum actually represents humanity itself, brought into being by the god who creates the world through his word, and the goddess whose presence commands fairness and balance. Forgot to say that Sekhmet is actually the protector of Ma'at, so of truth. And then together, they create what we call the Memphis Triad, because as such, the triad was the primary focus in the city of Memphis. Many are there. So there is also a chapel dedicated to Osiris, who is about life, death, and resurrection. His teaching was about conquering death while we are still in the physical form. The one who was killed, remembered, and who then transcends the earthly plane. So, time for a story. In one of his attempts to get rid of Osiris, his evil brother Set cut him in 13 pieces, which he then scattered all over Egypt. Always devoted, Isis, the beloved of Osiris, went into long search of his body parts. And it was said that wherever she would find one piece, a temple was built. So in a way, Osiris I don't remember the word. Anyway, the temple sprang from Osiris's remains. And then the story says that she found all the pieces but one, his penis. And with the aid of her sister Nephthys, she remembered Osiris. And she then used her potent magic and conceived a child, the god we know as Horus. And after that, Osiris is said to have departed the earthly plane. So there are many stories linked with this story, of course, about Isis and Osiris. The teachings are many, and there are multiple readings, but that's for some other time. One of those, though, although I would like to point out, is this scene from that contests actually teachings that speak about the great initiation represented by that. We see Anubis holding the hand of the initiate, whose heart is weighed against the feather of Maat, the truth. The measures are recorded by thought, and if everything goes well, the initiate is not devoured by this strange creature here, but recommended by Horus to his father Osiris, who would then accept the soul of the initiate into eternity. And one final feature of the temple I would like to point out is Akmenu. Menu. So it's a structure, it's a monument actually, built to commemorate an event from the life of Thutmose III. He is said to have reunited the different mystery schools in Egypt. And the structure was built in imitation of a royal tent that would normally be planted somewhere in nature. Such tent would have been not only a temporary abode of the king, but also a meeting place where local chiefs and governors would meet. A temporary space-time where leaders would meet and decide on how to proceed. So this structure in Karnak represents the uniting encounter between the spiritual teachers and guides. And so we are at the end of the presentation, and I would like to see if there are any questions, comments, or anything else. Feel free to just unmute or post a question.
Daniela, I wanted to ask you, maybe I missed it in the, is there a reason why all these gods crowded this little space of Karnak?
Good question. And I didn't do my job well. So actually, so this is where Thebes was the spiritual center and of course societal center of ancient Egypt. And the it was where pharaohs and priesthoods, priesthood, priests were trained actually, so initiated in and into the mystery and through the mysteries. So although each of these deities that I just mentioned have their temples all over Egypt, in Karnak they are like a synthesized teachings in one place, like a university. Yeah, it was called the Karnak. I think it was called University of Life as mystery school. So actually allowing the initiates to go through different mystery schools in one place. Thank you for the question. And yeah, so this picture shows how we imagine that the Karnak would look like if it was complete today. Although there are some, I recognize some inaccuracies, but it's okay. So here we see, interestingly, so this is the entrance from the west, where Nile was coming all the way to the entrance. Now, today that's not the case, right? Nile is much removed from the entrance of the temple. Okay. As usual, I underestimated the time. So we have another visualization, which will take, I think, around 15 minutes more. I hope that's okay. And then we'll open for sharing, of course. Yeah, okay. And so let's close our eyes. Remember the sparks in our hearts. We are standing at the entrance of the temple just after our conversation with Thoth Jehuti. And we make a pause, allowing our senses to take in the environment. We are standing in front of this large gaze through which Karnak is accessed. And we allow the temple to recognize us. We slowly pass through the large gates and find ourselves in a big open sky hall. Monuments and chapels form its confines. And we slowly move. We continue walking through the center, allowing our senses to feel the sun, to hear the noises, the temple noises. Note if there is anybody around us. And advance slowly, aware that we are penetrating further and further this sacred space. And there we enter what is called the hypostyle hall. 134 large columns, not far from each other, together constitute nearly a maze. Colorful images on these columns talk, speak, tell us stories. There are people around us, but their conversation is soft, and the ambience is that of tranquility and poise. An aroma of incense reaches us, and we follow it. Until we find our space in a space, we find ourselves in a space where Mat and Jehuti are in conversation. The goddess of truth and the Lord of the divine word. Our group gathers around them. And they invite us to visit different mystery schools. As they speak, 7 paths appear on the ground, each of a different color. They lead towards the various parts of the Karnak complex. And you will be invited to choose one. I will repeat 2 times what they are. So there is one that leads into the school where Sekhmet, the lioness, Ptah, the prophet, and Nefertum, their son, are the guiding principles. There is one that leads to the chapel of Osiris, a path that leads to the temple of Amun-Ra, the sun god. There is a path that leads to the sacred lake. There is a colorful path that goes to the place where Khepera teaches. There is one that leads all the way to the temple of Nekhbet Mother-Mut, the alchemist. And finally, the path that leads to the teachings of Khonsu, the moon god, the god of time, traveler, healer. So there are many paths: healing, time travel, devotion, courage, self-realization, higher self-realization, wisdom, alchemy, sciences, astrology, way of shamans, justice, cosmic order, love, white magic. So please choose one. Sekhmet, Ptah, and Nefertum, Osiris, Amun-Ra, Sacred Lake, Khepra, Nekhbet Mother-Mut, Khonsu. And you can, of course, stay with Mat and Jehuti if that is your choice. As you choose and engage on the path, somebody will guide you, and that somebody being your intuition into the appropriate part of the temple. Feel free to explore. Notice the structure, dimensions, geometry, colors. Listen to the sounds. Pay attention to what is happening. I will leave you with in your mystery school for 2 or 3 minutes to experience. The sun is setting down. We hear a call. Students and staff of the school where we just visited all turn and start walking towards the far east of the temple complex, and we follow. Torches are lit, showing the way through and around the structures of the temple. And as we turn the last corner, around the last corner, we find ourselves approaching a large tent. Poles of sturdy wood are holding a roof of fabric bright in colors of yellows and greens, soft lavender, turquoise, emerald blue. Flags are undulating in the wind, indicating the presence of the deities. Arriving from everywhere, people and us with them are congregating around the center of the tent. We place ourselves intuitively knowing which position to take in the geometry that is arising around a central figure. The headmaster of the mystery schools speak. We observe and we listen. The gathering is nearing its end. The entire assembly falls into a contemplating silence. Much was learned, much exchanged. The entire night has gone, and the first rays of the rising sun reach the interior of the tent, and everyone turns to face east. The brilliance is not only visible, it fills us top to bottom with vibrant vitality. Sense the beneficent energy as it fills your bodies, all of your bodies. And just before we come back to our reality, let us send a ray of acknowledgement, appreciation towards our Egyptian allies. And we wiggle our toes, our fingers, and slowly come back to our reality. And I will put another piece of music to get us back into 3D. Open your palm Amun-Ra come to the space where I can see you too. That would be nice. Et voilà. This is this is the we're nearing the end of our gathering today. If there is anything to share, how was the meeting with Yehuti? Did you speak with him? Yeah, there is many, much information, and frankly, I think that each of these deities would deserve a separate meeting, but there it is. So you have a teaser for our real visit to Karnak.
I would like to share that I had a lovely experience of initiatory process.
Okay.
And if the last times that we went through those journeys, I felt so much part of the group. Now I felt it is my process, and the group is with me.
Interesting.
Yes, and to come to this place with the 7 paths, it was it was as if I came back to my student days, reading the Raisin initiations. Yes. And I chose I went through the path of wow, what's the name of of Nekhbet, the alchemist.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
And with all that's happening nowadays, feeling and sensing a process of transmutation. It was thank you. Really, all the deities with their names I could not remember much, but their energies, stayed with me when you brought them.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you for this sharing. Yes, they were with us and still are, actually. Yeah.
I can share that I took the journey to, and had this wonderful experience that I was just way, way, way above the earth, almost within the stars, and looking down and maintaining that sort of observation stance. But it was just really, there was darkness and just sort of stars. But I think it was Nut, is it right? Who is the goddess that you were saying is more of the stars?
Oh, I actually didn't mention her.
No, but there was somebody who was above, it was
Nut.
above the doorway.
Oh, Nekhbet, also Nekhbet.
Maybe that was who I'm thinking of, but it was just a lovely, quiet sort of observation point. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Daniela, I just so appreciated the richness and the depth and the beauty of what you put together for us. And um, yeah, there's a lot to take in on a kind of a mental level, but
Mhm.
I was just like aware of this kind of weaving together of the ancient mysteries with very contemporary of our immediate present contemporary experience.
Mm.
And somehow the these encounters with these deities is it was like also meeting the disciples, and it was like meeting the masters of the
Yes.
different rays, and just trying to sort of piece the correlations together. So yeah, it sort of opens up a lot of material, but just
Yes.
really appreciate the framework that you're opening up to us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm hoping we will find many correlations between
Mm,
its ageless wisdom also in another form, you
mm.
know.
Yeah, very much came through.
Thank you.
Is this interesting thought is probably not impression, but rather a thought, is that by the time that Karnak complex, the Karnak temple was built, and all these mystery schools being in place all around Egypt, we know by that time the hierarchy already took the withdrawal from the physical plane during the time of Atlantis. And so, in a way, all these mysteries and these symbols, these are keys that been left behind, so that they still could be accessed by those who wants and who knows the way. And so, interesting to think about it, that on one level it's all this crystallized forms and shapes that's been built and worshipped for millennia there, and at the same time they have living presence. It's this kind of this paradox, a
Mm.
simultaneous paradox. And so it's very interesting to think about it just as that those are all pointers towards life presence of the masters and the hierarchy overall.
Yeah, I can say something about this, Sasha. Yes, the hierarchy left the physical, the physical
Plan.
demonstration, yeah, of the high forces, but there was something there that in this physical and crystallized ambiance, there was a straight link with the cosmos, something that we don't have anymore. Yeah, maybe we'll go back to that. And it allowed that. And yeah, just to go to the pyramid and see, when you go there and you see from the top of the pyramid, is at a certain hour, the ray of one ray of sun comes in at a certain hour. It goes right into the heart of the pyramid.
Yes.
It has been planned like it's not a human planning.
Mm.
In the dense physical world, in this dense field, because always stones and buildings and of course they were yeah, and it was very ceremonial. I'm not sure that all the people who lived in the temples and served in the temples knew what they were doing. Yeah,
Probably not.
there were rules. They had to do it. It was politics, like everywhere else. Yeah. Yeah, and this difference between this fight between Akhenaton and Amun-Ra. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Humanity, we do that, right? But it's
over beliefs also. Well, thank you for this trip.
Thank you for joining, for being the co-traveler. And so that brings us to, so we will be, as you know, some of us, we will be journeying in Egypt 3 weeks from now, right? More or less. And we are thinking of when occasion presents itself, when it's appropriate and nice to do it, we are thinking of scheduling, not scheduling, but holding ad hoc Zoom meetings, 5-10 minutes in a temple or at the Nile, or well, when the occasion presents itself and when we think it can be shared, right? When it's possible to share. So we are creating a WhatsApp group, right, Alexander? Yes. There a link will be sent to you, and if you want to join, please do. We will post there things, including this invitation for impromptu meetings when we find ourselves in places that can be shared, places / time / atmosphere / we miss you.
Lovely.
When we traveled last year to Japan, we had this phrase that came up: when a few of us goes, all of us go. And so this time we're inviting the community to go with us this way, be in touch. So I already put into chat the link to this WhatsApp group. So we invite you just to join this WhatsApp group if you're interested to follow us on this journey. And we will be, as Daniela said, sending messages, and whenever it's possible, calling up impromptu meetings, and just to share that live joy of being there, and whatever will wants to come. So this is our way to be connected and travel there as a community.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you for taking us there.
Yes, you are all going. You didn't know it, but yes.
And thank you for today together traveling. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for those who watched this meeting in recording, the link to WhatsApp group will be in the description of this video. Hopefully we will not forget. If we forget, please contact us via our website.
Amir is there.
Yes, he is.
Amir, show yourself. Hello. You're muted. Bye.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
This impromptu thing is great. It's impossible I'm guessing you will be somewhere, say, hey, we're going to meditate now, and then we join, that kind of vibe. So yeah, it would be lovely. And also just to follow along. I mean, I'm
Yes.
there with you with heart and spirit and mind and everything else.
Hmm.
And nice to see everybody. Hi, Claire. Hi, everybody else.
Mhm.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Amir?
I'm now in France. I'm currently in
In
France.
France. In France.
Yeah. Or French Republic.
République de France.
Current incarnation of the Republic, of the territory.
Mhm.
So yeah. Great. Good. And thanks for tonight as well, Daniela. And the kids were also listening some of the time.
Really?
And they also really love the music. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
so I must get the track from you because
Okay.
Armand wants the track. So
Will be shared.
okay. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So
Thanks,
And
everyone.
but there is one piece of music that I want to share before as we go away.
Love is in the air. Everywhere I look around. Love is in the air. Every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish. Don't know if I'm being wise. But it's something that I must believe in. And it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air, in the whisper of the tree. Love is in the air, in the thunder of the sea. And I don't know if I'm just dreaming. Don't know if I feel safe. But it's something that I must believe in. And it's there when you call out my name. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. Love is in the air, in the rising of the sun. Love is in the air, when the day is nearly done. And I don't know if you're illusion, don't know if I see it true, but you're something that I must believe in, and you're there when I reach out for you. Love is in the air, everywhere I look around. Love is in the air, every sight and every sound. And I don't know if I'm being foolish, don't know if I'm being wise, but it's something that I must believe in, and it's there when I look in your eyes. Love is in the air. Love is in the air. Oh, 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 love is in the air. Love is in the air.
Right, yes, Bye.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to find a button to finish the thing, but
I know. Is leaf right hand side?